of our centennial. I couldn't be more proud of the students who put that together. The talent that was on display there was just, I thought, awesome and inspiring. So we're looking forward to a big year. A lot is planned and more will be coming out. But one of the really, I think, surprising and big announcements was made by Wesley Watley, who's here from Macy's parade, and I'm going to let him tell you what they're doing with us.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is a great honor to be here at Texas Tech University. I flew in from New York City last night to be part of this kickoff to the centennial. At Macy's, we pride ourselves on our tradition. The Macy's Parade on Thanksgiving will be in its 96th year, so we are very much closing in on our very own centennial, our 100th parade, in just a few years. And this past winter, marching bands from across the U.S. applied to be part of next year's parade. We have a Macy's Band Selection Committee that reviews all marching bands, high schools, colleges, cultural groups. We select only the best of the best. And Texas, as you guys may already know, is a highly competitive state. Some of the best, biggest marching bands in the U.S. are here. And Texas Tech, first we looked at their performance on the football field, and I think we all know they know how to entertain. They have a big sound. And then we noticed the centennial, and we thought this is the perfect opportunity. It's the first time in the school's history that the band has ever participated in our show. And what better way to shine a bright light on these talented students, this big centennial, and then say it in a national format the next fall at the conclusion of the big centennial here at Texas Tech.
So we'll open up to questions for President Susanek or for Wesley.
So I do look forward to seeing all of you. It's November 23rd.
That's right.
New York City.
Yeah, that's right.
The Goin Band will be marching.
And you'll be joining us?
You better believe it.
Excellent. Wonderful.
And the band will be in new uniforms.
What were some of the criteria for bands?
Sure. So as I mentioned, we look at the entertainment value first. So we want to know, our show is an entertainment show. So we are performance-based. We look at that product they put on the field. We looked at their halftime show, several of them from last fall. And we knew they had a big sound. The band knows how to entertain a crowd in a big stadium. If you think about New York City, some of our audience is 40 floors in the air, sometimes 60 people deep. So we need that big collegiate sound. The brass here are incredible. I'm actually a former marching band kid myself, so I speak on behalf of actually knowing this band has a great big sound. It's going to carry through the canyons of New York, just as it carries through the stadiums here. And so we look at that first. That is the primary objective. And we compared all the Texas bands first. Texas Tech came out on top, and then the Centennial was just sort of the icing on the top.
You know, I hate to be bossy here, but
Please.
there's one point I want to make also. This was a big part of that announcement, but I think the theme is probably what really tugged at people's heart. We talked about the connection between tech and this community and the values of tech, from our humble beginnings to where we are today. And there was a very touching part of this performance when they talked about the tornado in 1971, how that bonded this city and university together in a way, led to some of Tech's research that has carries forward to today. I just think it struck a wonderful tone about the bond between Tech, Lubbock, West Texas, our humble roots, but our bright future.
And if I could add, I think that's so beautiful. I think our traditions, one thing that I loved about today is in looking back, I think sometimes we can think about our traditions and look back, but it's also in thinking about tradition, it's an opportunity to look forward as well. Like our rituals, whether it's the masked rider riding out on a football field, or even, I think that was a student-led idea back in the early days, right? Well, our parade was an employee-led, a colleague-led idea. The colleagues came to management and said, we want to put on a parade. I think how beautiful is that? These rituals that we have that connect us also help us look forward, and they connect us as a community moving forward. So our organizations have a lot in common, and that's awfully special as well.
Well, when you were saying our, I thought you're starting to sound like a Red Raider.
I feel like an honorary Red Raider today for sure.
Any questions?
Well, Mr. President, do you know anything about about the uniforms? Is band going to get a new uniform?
They will be, I think, here in the spring. It's going to have a designation that notes 100. Actually, the School of Music came to us maybe a year, 18 months ago. They were going to raise part of the money. We put in part of the money, and there was a wonderful response from alumni and donors that made that possible.
And if you guys were not in the room earlier, so just want to offer, Macy's, just to kick things off, is offering today, we're gonna contribute a $10,000 check today to the band to kind of kick off that fundraising, and whether that goes toward uniforms or the band's trip, we just want to be supportive and symbolically support the band.
That was a big faux pas
No.
on my part to say thank you.
All good.
That was a wonderful gesture. That was wonderful.
Sure. Anything else?
Mr. President, can you tell us about the service component of the Centennial?
Right.
And what's that all about?
So, as they were talking about and showing the response to the tornado, they said this is part of our genes, this is part of our tradition to provide service and support of the city. So we're going to do 1 million hours of service. And there's a way for Red Raiders, alumni, or as they said, just people who love tech, to register those hours. I have no doubt we'll do it.
What are you most proud of?
Well, the students. I think if you saw that performance, you saw incredible talent. I was telling some colleagues that when you look at this campus and you see 40,000 students, sometimes you lose sight of the fact that every one of those students is a jewel with enormous talent, and you saw that on display today. That's what I was most proud of.
In your speech, you kind of spoke about how students turn into alumni. Why is it so important to invest in that student success?
Well, it's all about their success. They come here with the expectation that the quality of their life will be improved. We have an obligation to do everything we can to make that happen. And so I think I said, tech has been about turning education into inspiration, potential into power, and students, wonderful students into proud alumni, passionate students into proud alumni. And that's really the story of tech.